I have a command for Capri called say hi or say hello. Whenever she hears this command, she's to run up to someone and sort of bump them the way a footballer would tackle someone, but jokingly. Go say hi.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute!
Go say hi. There you go. Just a little bit of a bump, or she will run up to them and I think it's with say hello, she'll run up to them and just hop on and hold on to them like this, because people will normally just put their arms under, so she goes and puts her paws on their arms, and so it looks like a hug. And she will do that and then turn around and look at me and wait for me to release her from the position. A dog that has been put in a learning state is constantly trying to recreate the behaviors that got them the reward in the first place. And so that's all Capri does in any situation, is she's trying to figure out which behavior is going to get her access to you throwing a toy, or access to food, or access to some kind of reward. And that is the beauty of working dogs, is they're constantly trying to work for a reward. With that said, it is important for us to dial in certain commands and certain behaviors, which is why we're constantly working with our working dogs to make sure that they're up to date on their behaviors and up to date on their commands. So whenever I find that something is lacking, which is absolutely a normal thing to expect because I'm constantly training other people's dogs, there's just no way that I can keep training my dog every single day. And even though we're working on certain things more consistently, there's certain things that kind of fall to the wayside. So one of the most important lessons I want you guys to realize is that no dog is perfect. Even the most well-trained dog still has something that needs to be worked on. Training is something that continues over the period of the dog's life. And if you find that your dog is behaving well and the dog is well trained to some degree, and you ease up on the training, absolutely nothing wrong with that. That happens all the time. But once you start noticing that your dog has been failing on certain things, it is absolutely critical to come back and work on those things. The dog will pick it up very easily because they already have the muscle for it. But ignoring it will allow it to become worse. And the worse it becomes, then the less likely the dog is to gain freedom and to gain access to all of those things that that behavior and that training allowed them to gain access to. So welcome to the video. My name is Eric Ita. This is dog training in the real world. Let's begin. But before I begin, whoa, Capri, calm down. I just want to tell them to roll the clip. All right, gotta put this e-collar on you. Hello. Good. Center.
Like he's looking for a treat.
Yeah. Good morning.
Thank you.
I think that there is a parallel mechanism in dogs in the fact that whenever you walk into a house as a visitor, the dog is so excited to see you, but it doesn't know what to do with that excitement. So it runs and it picks a toy, it runs and it picks up a sock or a shoe, and then it brings it to you, and it's hopping incessantly, just trying to figure out what to do, right? And I think that that's the same thing with a human being, where you say hello to someone and then there's a nervous laugh that follows. Good morning. Just kidding. And it feels like a mild annoyance. Left heel. Shh, you weren't ready. You weren't ready, Capri the pup. The reality of dog ownership and training is that at some point the dog is going to forget the command. The dog is going to lose the behavior. So whenever the dog is trained and you're going, okay, well, it's time to relax and it's time to let loose, nothing wrong with that, but just remember that by letting loose, by not practicing, the dog is going to lose it. And it's up to you to come back from time to time and refresh the dog. Refresh the sit, refresh the heel, and refresh the e-collar training. So in today's video, I'm actually going to be working on e-collar training with Capri and making sure that we have this under control, because she is a dog that I allow to be off leash, especially when we're out in the wilderness, even though the wilderness has a very well paved road. In my original training with Capri, I gave her an automatic default position whenever I push the button. So she's supposed to come to me, go into the middle of my legs into a center heel position. She obviously responds to the stimulation, but she has forgotten the default position. So that's something we need to work on. So let's see. There we go, good. So now I can reward her for it. And release, okay? While she's doing that, press the button. Good. Okay. Good. So this is my way to tell her that, okay? Is that whenever she feels the stimulation, regardless of what's going on, she's supposed to leave it and come back to me and go to her default position. Because I hate the fact that I had to tell her twice in this previous video.
Yeah, I have lived here 35 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
But I'm from Belgium.
Capri, Senna. From Belgium?
Yes.
Oh, Capri is from Belgium. Hey,
Capri?
Senna. Yeah, that's her name.
Oh.
She's a Belgian Malinois.
Oh.
Have you heard of those dogs?
I don't know much about dogs, really.
You don't? Why not? You have cats?
I grew up not to pet dogs, and
Yeah.
I'm a little scared,
Oh,
but not much.
yeah. That's why I come out here where I'm hopefully not bothering anybody. But you know, I see some people riding their bikes here sometimes, and I see them looking at me like.
All these classes, they are done. All you
Okay.
have to do is click the button
Okay.
and take notes, take data.
Yeah.
If the student has responded well or not. And the other hard part of the teacher is not even giving a lesson. You know, teachers don't give lessons.
You mean
Everything
in
is
general?
done,
Okay.
especially the one online.
Yeah.
I mean, even in general, yeah, they use pre-done curriculum, which
Okay.
sucks. Because I think teachers should have the freedom to teach.
To teach. Yeah.
But some of them have an agenda, and so is the curriculum.
Sure. Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. The government has predetermined our existence. And we're just pawns in the game. That's the truth. I think when you realize that, it makes you a bit free. If you realize that it's out of your control to some degree.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I just like.
Yeah.
If I were the teacher, I would still do whatever I want.
Sure.
I mean, I don't have an agenda.
Right.
When I know there is one, I won't talk about it.
Right.
Because that's not my position. My position is to teach material.
Right. I was born in Nigeria, and in our schools, in primary school, we had agriculture. We had.
In Nigeria?
Yeah. Like that was one of our classes. They actually taught us how to.
Oh, cool.
How to cultivate the soil. You know, we had keyboarding, bookkeeping class where we actually learned how to write invoices and, you know, how to type and things like that. And a lot of our classes were things about how to survive, you know, tools. And I feel like when I moved to America, a lot of the classes were just sort of like general. You know, they didn't really teach you a skill.
No.
Right. And
How old were you when you came?
I was 15. I am. Or in my head, I'm like, oh no, I think I sound American. But sometimes people are like, no. But I've lived here half of my life. So yeah, I think when I go back home, my accent changes completely.
Your parents still live there?
I just have my mom, but yeah, she lives in Nigeria. My dad lived here in Las Vegas, yeah, but he passed.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. I like you. Give me a hug.
I like you too.
And Capri likes you as well.
And what's
Oh,
your
you
name?
smell good.
I do.
Yeah.
It must be the hairspray.
Is it the hairspray? My name's Eric.
Oh, the all American name?
Yeah, well, Eric is an English name. Eric is probably one of the most popular
Is that what
names.
they speak in Nigeria?
English, yeah. We were colonized by the British.
Bastards.
Yeah, right? They said you have to learn the Queen's English. So yeah, I did not like the fact that I had to tell her twice to get into center heel position when we met this lovely lady in this video that went viral. And a lot of people noticed that. And the truth of the matter is that dogs need to be trained. Dogs need to be constantly reminded of what their commands are, what their behaviors are. And if you haven't practiced something, then you lose it to some degree, right? She responded eventually, but I like for the dog to respond the first time. So this is how I trained her with e-collars, and so we're going to go back to the basics, and I want her to understand that whenever she feels the button, whenever she hears the command, she's to respond and go to her default position. So if she's forgotten what the default position is, or if she thinks that it's okay to go in there and break it for whatever reason is, that is something that we have to work on. This is the whole point of dog training. It is something that continues. The dog is never really trained, and if the dog has reached a point where it feels like they're trained, and then you ease up on them eventually, they're going to lose the training. So welcome to the journey, and let's begin. I can release her into a break, right? Give her some food, distract her, and then press the button. And whenever she feels it, she's to come back and go into a sit. Good girl. When she does, I reward her. And unless she hears, okay, she's to maintain the position. So right there, I'm going to release her, and then I'm going to call her back. And while we're here, regardless of what I do, she's to be in this position. So if she tried to break it, that's where I would press the e-collar to get her back to the position. So as long as I'm moving, she's to move with me. Okay. That was my fault. I said okay and I was going to say break. You see, that created some confusion and hesitation. She was listening for another command. So that is as simple an error as a human being can make, and that affects the way that the dog sees the whole picture. So very easily I could have made a mistake back there, but she looked at me and I didn't say anything, and then she decided to go. So that was her choice to then go into what her positive reinforcement is, which is just simply going after the food, okay? While she's doing that, I'm going to take a step back, then I'm going to press the button again. There we go. Into a sit, good girl. The dog is under control when she's in the center heel position. If for whatever reason I need to reach out and grab her, then it's easy to do so because she is right here. So people feel safe when they see that the dog is in this position, which is why I try to train the dog around public situations to maintain the center heel when we're moving around. And like I said, unless I've given her a release command, which is simply okay, then she is not to break from this position. So wherever I move, I expect her to move with me. Good. Good. And only when I say, okay, release her from the command. She can go back to doing whatever she wants to do. She can choose to come back to me. As you saw, she's trying to come back to the position. So now she's giving me that behavior without me asking for it. That's not necessarily what I want, even though that's what we're training for. I want her to be paying attention. I want her to wait for me to call her back. Okay? She's anticipating that I'm going to push the button, so she's not going after the food as much because now she's on the routine. So while that's good, I don't want her doing that. I want her to understand that when I say okay, she's allowed to go back and eat and follow that behavior while listening and making sure that whenever she hears the next command, she's able to respond to it. So I don't want her coming in and just giving me those behaviors on her own, because that is not what I asked for. I said okay. Okay means go. Okay? It means go eat, go play. So only when you hear Capri, good, do you then go into the position that I've asked you to go into whenever I call your name. Good. And then when we're moving together. Good. Good. And I'm rewarding. And even if I drop food on the ground, nope, don't go after it. Ignore it all. Good. Drop food on the ground, ignore it. Good. Until you hear, okay. And that's the release command. It's as simple as that. So we have to make sure that we're on these dogs and we're making sure that they understand things. And if they've forgotten something or if they're not as clear, it's important to go back and retrain those things. And that's the beauty of dog training, is that you can constantly retrain dogs over and over and over again, because they're constantly going to forget things that you don't practice with them. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.